Hey everybody, welcome to Tarot Exploration. I am Tarot Explorer Cordelia. I love tarot, and this is our new weekly show. We're going to do a deep dive into tarot every week. Many weeks we're going to actually have an interview. I'm going to interview somebody who professionally does tarot readings. Last week we had a great interview with Jen Underwood, who's a life coach and a counselor, and she also does tarot readings. And you can check that out on our Facebook or our YouTube channel if you want to see it. Tonight I'm going to do a deep dive into this one deck, and I'm going to do that periodically because I feel like, first of all, if you're like me, you can spend $1 million on, you can see my hands in the other camera, you can spend $1 million on decks. And I love buying new decks because I think it's a great way to explore another part of yourself. Sometimes it's just fun to have a different deck to play with. But so I have bought decks because it's sometimes hard to figure out what they look like. And sometimes I buy them and they really don't resonate with me. And so what I thought I would do in this deep dive is give you a peek into some of these really cool decks so you can see if it resonates for you. So tonight we're going to be looking at the Crow Tarot. Hello, Judy. Thank you for tuning in live. And thank you for those of you who are watching the replay. So I have a bit of camera wizardry here where I have, and now I'm trying to do yet another thing. I'm trying to see this in case there's any comments. So what I have here is you can see my hands in both places because I have two cameras on my desk. So one is at my computer, that's here, and one is on my desk over here so that you can actually see the cards. So this is a little bit of an experiment, but I'm thinking this would work for a while, so I actually finally got it set up tonight. So here we have the Crow Tarot, boom, deck. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some specific cards from the deck, and I'm going to compare them to the Radiant Rider Tarot deck, which is it's a classic deck. It's based on the classic deck done by Pamela Coleman Smith in around 1900. But the Radiant Rider has been recolored a little bit. So the colors pop a little more and it's brighter. But you can see the difference between sort of the classic iconic tarot imagery and what the creator of this beautiful deck, MJ Cullinane, has done with the Crow. And she's an amazing creator and artist, a huge fan. And a lot of people really love Crow Tarot. Now we have a shop called Hunt Girl Gifts, and in that shop we sell this deck. This is one of our most popular decks. We also sell the other deck I'm going to show you tonight, the Radiant Rider. So if you decide to check either of those out, I will give you links at the end. But in the meantime, let's definitely check this deck out and see what it's got to show us. Let's set the box back here. Okay, now this is the book that comes with the deck. It's pretty thick, fits in the box. So I'm also going to show you a little page side-by-side comparison of what MJ's interpretations of her own cards are versus sort of more traditional interpretation, just so you can see a little bit of the difference. So first of all, the major arcana are the first 22 cards of the deck. And those are, let's see if I can hold this. You can see it. Those cards are the classic cards of the deck. The ones that have names on them. Now this card, the Fool, is the very first card of the deck. It's representative usually of somebody starting off on a journey, a sort of open-minded naivete. Things might go well, they might not, but they're up for an adventure. So this is that card. And just to give you a little contrast, this is the more kind of classic version of that card. So you can see the Crow. Her images look like photo collages. I assume they're mixed media because there is some paint and stuff in there too. So mixed media is when you do different kinds of art in the same finalized art piece. So they look like mixed media, but they're very collagey looking. Whereas, this one is just one picture. So anyway, in this particular image, it's kind of muted, but it's got The crow's on a log instead of a cliff, but it's got some of the same, you know, iconic images on it. But to me, it looks very, sorry, I'm trying to figure this out. Here we go. To me, it looks very different. So if you want a more classic looking tarot deck, then the Crow Tarot deck is really different looking. But if you love crows and you want something that's more artsy and has a little more room for interpretation, isn't quite so like maybe well known right off the bat, but you can make it your own, this is a really good deck. So that's the Fool. And here is the Magician, which this is, I'm not going to do this for every card, by the way, but I will show you a few. And if you guys have any requests, I sort of loosely have the cards organized. I can show you some specifics. But so you can see the Crow deck looks really different than a traditional deck. But there's the Crow with the magic staff, the sword, the cup, the flowers. So a lot of that iconic imagery is there. I'm trying to see, there's no infinity symbol on this one that I can see. But it's a lovely card, and you could definitely get the sense of the Magician from this card as well as this one. And here is the High Priestess. I really love the Crow High Priestess. I have to admit, I have a little bit of a trouble with the Radiant Rider High Priestess and the traditional ones because she just looks very nun-like, and I don't have a lot of connection with that. But that's just me. But the Crow High Priestess, it's just a beautiful card with the crow sitting there on the crescent moon with the pentagram or the pentacle and her veil, almost bridal. But also sort of holy at the same time, sort of like a priestess. So it's a lovely, lovely card. Let's see here, these pictures, so you can see them. And then this is one of my favorite cards here, which is the Empress. Now the Crow Empress has a big cup in it. It has the sun, which in a different deck, like the original Coleman does have the sun in it. This one doesn't, just has sunshine in the background. The crow is not wearing a crown, but there's a lot of pomegranates. So you can see that it has some of the same images, but it's just lovely. It's a beautiful, beautiful card. Yeah. And then here is the Emperor. And you can see the astrological element here with the ram. So the Hierophant, I want to get as far as the Hermit. There's the Lovers, which this one is very different than this really classic one with the weird big-haired angel and the naked people. So this one is like not the most, I don't know, modern interpretation of lovers, I guess. It's not, most of us don't imagine ourselves in love with like a big angel, and I don't know, that just looks weird. So this image is a little bit more about overindulgence and loss of control, I feel like, whereas the Crow card actually captures some of this essence of, you know, there you do have the snake there, so there is that element of sort of loss of control, temptation, but you do also have two crows standing next to each other, eye to eye, equal footing. So there's just a lot of gorgeous beauty in this that you can interpret. The Chariot card is totally different, but that makes sense because a crow doesn't need a chariot, it can just go. We have the Strength card. And then the Hermit was this one I was going to show you because this is another really iconic image of the classic decks. Here we have the Hermit and the Hermit. The Crow Hermit to me really captures the essence of the Hermit. You have a crow off by itself in sort of a desolate place. But, you know, it's not a person. So you have to imagine yourself in the crow's place and sort of put yourself into how that would be as a person. if that's how you do readings. Of course, there's all different ways to do readings, but so that was that one. And then I'm not going to keep going through. I keep saying that and then go into the next one. Wheel of Fortune is another like iconic card here. And you can see it looks really different in the Crow deck. The Crow deck is just absolutely gorgeous. So that's some of the Crow cards. I was going to show a few more comparisons of these, I would say, images I really strongly remember, and maybe you have different ones you remember, but here's the 10 of Cups, which is another classic card, and it's very similar. You've got the mommy and daddy crow there, and then you have the little kid crows in the nest. So that one's almost identical, except just crows. And then I wanted to show you guys this 2 of Cups, which to me it's the ultimate partnership. And in some ways is a more, I would say, realistic lover's card than the lover's card itself, in the sense that you have 2 equal partners. But I love the heart. The heart is actually like a beating heart. So it's kind of gross, but it's cool. You've got the lion there. If you're into the astrology aspects of the tarot, she definitely layers that imagery into the cards. So yeah, that's a super cool card right there. And then I have one more set aside here, which is the 3 of Swords, another really iconic card, which actually, you know, I think it's similar, except this one again has the, you know, more anatomically correct heart, which I think is more raw and fitting. It goes with that kind of rawness of the crow imagery. So there's that. Okay, so those are the cards, some of them. If you want to see any other cards, I'll be happy to show you. But I think you can get a real sense of just the stark beauty of this deck. And there's so much room for interpretation here that it really gives you a lot of freedom as a tarot reader to be able to kind of make your own interpretations from the imagery and not just from the book. But speaking of the book, I did want to give you sort of an apples to apple comparison so you could see how she writes her book, because I find, you know, just a wild variety of helpfulness of these little books that come with the deck. Some of them are great, some of them not so great. It doesn't really matter because I have books I use when I need them, but it's still nice to know if you're going to buy it or if you want to think about buying it if you want the book. So I'm going to actually go ahead and look up this 3 of Swords here, and it's pretty readable. Sometimes these things are printed so small that it's a little bit ridiculous. This one is small but manageable. So the 3 of Swords, which is this card here, the crow watches his partner fly away. The 3 of Swords puncturing the heart, representing the pair of crows and the issue that resulted in the separation. It represents a time of sadness. However, without sorrow, we would never understand true happiness, and without loss, we would not appreciate all that we have. There's no avoiding the sadness. So this is very much focusing on the divinatory aspect of the tarot with this interpretation. Some people, try and turn this so you can see it. Some people are more about looking within. Some people are more about predicting actual events. So that this could definitely be interpreted as an interpretation of the future. The situation also offers a valuable life lesson, one that is essential for growth. This card asks you to take steps to learn how to heal your heart and your soul. And then it goes into the reversal description, which is when, for those of you who do this, this is when the card is upside down. I actually really don't do that. I just do right side up. So then this is Kitchen Table Tarot, which is my favorite tarot book by Melissa Sinova, because it's very down to earth and readable. So now I'm going to find the 3 of Swords here. And she uses the Llewellyn deck as her imagery. But this one is also says there's loss, pain, tragedy, and heartache. This is a visceral card. The person who receives it will often know exactly what it's referring to before you start speaking, because it's such a profound event. It's a transition of the soul. And I'm sort of skipping around a little bit here. I don't want to read you the whole thing. The best thing to do when you see this in a reading is to tell your clients to take a deep breath and brace themselves for an uncontrollable change. So this is also a divinatory interpretation of that card. And then finally, this is a good book, but it has less, I don't know, it's more direct. It just tells you things. It doesn't get into a lot of what the author perceives as subtlety. But let me just go ahead and pull up the Three of Swords here. And you will see they use yet another deck, which looks similar. Necessary cutting, a bleeding heart. Stormy weather for the emotions, loss, emotional pain, a bleeding heart, difficulties in a relationship, misunderstanding, alienation. So similar interpretations. Obviously, they all have their own little spin on it. But what I like about this book that comes with the deck is that you can do a really good reading just from this book, and it would not necessarily be that different from like a more traditional tarot interpretation, but it does give you that crow essence, so you can kind of incorporate it as you want. So this is the Crow Tarot deck. It's a stunning deck, and to me, crows have a little bit of a dark association. But I don't feel like these cards are particularly any darker than really any other cards. It's really all in how you interpret the meaning and how you interpret the reading. So that is the Crow deck. I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to reshuffle these and then do a quick couple readings. If anybody in the audience would like a reading, you can go ahead and post your question. If not, then I will just do a quick general reading and then move on for the evening. So I'd love to hear from you guys if you want to have a show next week. It's election day, so I don't really know what the vibe is, if people are wanting to escape with tarot or just deal with the election. So let me know. Otherwise, we'll probably skip it. They're pretty sizable cards, as you can see. So I love shuffling cards. It's one of my favorite things to do. So they're definitely a little bit of, got one of those mixed in there. They're definitely a little bit challenging to shuffle because they're big. So if you like a smaller deck, then these aren't massive, but they're definitely not tiny either. So I'm going to give these a good couple shuffles because I have them separated. I want to thank those of you who are tuning in live. Thank those of you who are watching the replay. If you're watching the replay, please go ahead and comment. Let me know what you like about the Crow Tarot, what you don't. I'd love to hear from the live people. Do we have anybody in the audience who would like a reading? I'm going to do a quick 2-card reading for anybody who would like it. And if not, I'm just going to do a generalized reading for the week ahead. So this is kind of cool to see my own hands shuffling as I shuffle. It's kind of addictive. All right, so let me get rid of these cards for the moment. Out of the way. So this is how I do a reading. I am not a professional reader. I do this as a hobby. But I spread them out like this, and then I think about my question. And then I sort of hover my hands over and see where I'm led, and then that's it. So tonight I'm going to do, I don't see a comment with a request for a reading, so I'm just going to do a reading for the week ahead, guidance for all of us. I'm going to pull a card for the focus of the week, the biggest obstacle this week, and then our guidance from our helpers this week. Okay. All right. So then, and Judy says the artwork is lovely. They're so beautiful, these cards. Look at this. Now this is one definitely is not dark. It's such a happy, joyful card there. It's beautiful. Okay, let's do the reading. So this was the focus for the week is the world. So this is going to be a crazy week between Halloween and Election Day. So in the United States anyway. So the focus for this week is the world, spreading your wings, getting out there. Maybe try to, if you can't physically get out there, then you can at least get out there mentally. So this is my raw interpretation. I'm going to look these up real quick because, like I said, I'm not a professional reader. But let's just do a quick sort of intuitive read here. This is the challenge for the week, which is the King of Cups. That means it's going to be an emotional week. Strong, strong, strong emotions. The horse here is seen in the ocean. The ocean is usually representative of emotions in the tarot. So right in the thick of everything, strong male figures, relevant to the election as well. But that can also mean a sense of reason and order being brought to the emotions as well. So it's just going to feel very turbulent this week. And finally, our guidance from our helpers is to focus on the feminine. So the Empress, she is fertile. She's above it all. I love this card because you see the crow like flying above the valley. The emotions are there, but they're way down in the distance. So when you sort of feel this temptation, oh, this is really cool. It's from being in the world, right? It's a lot. You want to get out there, you want to spread your wings, but it's a bit much. It's a lot of emotions this week. Try to get in touch with your divine feminine. Try to get in touch with your earth mother, your higher self. Go above it all. Separate. Go to your safe place. And you're not suppressing the feelings, but you might just step back from them a little bit. I feel like this would even make a great image to visualize during a meditation. You can imagine yourself as a crow sort of flying up into the heavens and just witnessing from above and having a little sense of freedom from all the madness. So that is my reading for the week right here from the Crow Tarot deck. I was going to look these up, but I think I'm not right now because I think that was a pretty cool reading. I can do one more reading. So if somebody wants to post a question in the comments, the first one that asks, I will do a reading on that. We do 2 readings a week here. And then I want to show you guys show you where we have this this deck for sale. So this is we have an Etsy store, and this is our Crow Tarot bundle. It comes with the deck. You get this great journal that goes with it, a lovely bag to keep it all in, a nice deep black velvet bag, which goes perfectly with the tarot, and a crystal. For some reason, Etsy thinks I'm in the UK. So if you're in the United States and you pull this website up, it will not say the dollars. It will say dollars. It won't say pounds. So I don't know why it has that, but I couldn't get rid of it before the show. And then here's our Amazon store, which is amazon.com Hunt Girl Gifts. And you can see we have our Crow Tarot bundle here. And it's the same one. So we also have our own website. Whoops, you can see my ref seller there. But anyway, this is our Etsy store, Hunt Girl Gifts. I'll put a link to this in the comments here or in the description. And this is our review we got from a woman who bought this. Not somebody I know personally, by the way, not a friend of mine. But she got this as a gift for a friend of hers who loves it. And she loved the shipping time and all that. So you too can buy this in dollars or pounds if you would like. Although we mostly just ship to the US, I think. If you're in another country and you want us to ship to you, you're going to have to email us and let us know. And we'll see if we can figure that out. All right, so now I go here. Look at that, I did it. And then I have my 3-card reading. It doesn't look like I have any questions. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off for the night. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will be back here in 2 weeks with another interview of an awesome tarot reader who does it professionally, and she will be sharing her favorite deck and her story about how she learned tarot and how she reads. Hope you have a great, great week. Thank you. Karen, thank you for joining as well. Have a great night. Bye, everybody.